Namaste everyone, welcome back to CodeCraft with Poonam. I'm coding mentor Poonam Agrawal. In our session 5, we solved the n+1 problem using join fetch, right? So, there we reduced 101 queries down to 1. So, but what if the same record is fetched again and again, even in different parts of your application? So imagine your recipe app shows the main course category. So for your better understanding, I'm considering an example of recipe, right? So if you are new to my video, then you can check out my all these sessions. Okay. And if not, you can continue from this session also. So for your better understanding, imagine your recipe app shows the main course category name on every page. So every page load fires. That is select statement. Okay. So that is the same query returning the same data, hitting the database every single time. Okay. So here the database is doing unnecessary work, right? So database calls are expensive, network hops, disk reads, connection overhead, right? So what if Hibernate could remember what it already fetched and serve it from memory? So that is exactly what caching does. Okay. So for example, imagine a restaurant, okay, where we have a busy kitchen during lunch rush, right? So a customer orders dal tadka recipe details, okay. Then what happens? The chef walks to the filing cabinet, pulls out the card, reads it, and returns. Okay, then what will happen? The next customer also orders dal tadka recipe details. Then, without caching, the chef walks to the cabinet again, pulls the same card, reads it. So, that is wasted effort for exactly the same result, right? So, with the first level cache, the chef remembers everything he pulled out during this order session. So, same card asked again in the same session. So, he checks his pocket first. Understood? So with this second level cache, the kitchen has a whiteboard where popular recipes are always written up. So any chef on any shifts checks the whiteboard first before going to the cabinet. So it is shared across all chefs and all shifts, right? So in this session, what you're going to learn is what is first level cache, that is L1, okay. So which you are already using it, and how this L1 saves queries automatically within one session, and what happens when session closes when this L1 cache is gone, and what is the second level cache, that is your L2, which is shared across all sessions, okay, and how to enable L2 using cache, okay, and how this we have annotation like @cache which marks entities, okay, for L2 caching. And also here we are going to see some cache strategies, okay, and how to verify this caching with Hibernate statistics, okay, and how to cache and what not to cache. Okay, so rules we are going to discuss here, okay. So let's get started. So now coming to Hibernate cache levels, that is L1 versus L2. Okay. So here we have two levels of cache in our Hibernate, that is L1 and L2. L1 is nothing but our first level cache, okay, which is always on, and its scope is within the session, and there is no configuration, okay, it is not required. And for the second level cache, that is L2, it is optional, it is shared, and here it needs configuration and it needs the external provider, and the scope is application lifetime. Okay. So here what you can say that the first level cache is always on, that is built into every Hibernate session, which cannot be turned off. Okay. And the scope is one session only. So here it is lost when session closes. Here no configuration is needed. It works automatically. Okay. And coming to the second level cache, it is optional and shared. Why? Because it is shared across all the sessions in the application. So it survives session close and open, and it must be explicitly enabled and configured, okay, and it needs an external cache provider, so that is for example cache, okay, and the scope is entire application lifetime. Got it? So now coming to Hibernate first level cache workflow, how it works. Okay, so first what happens is when you call session.find. So when you call session.find, okay, which is inside a session, okay, then what will happen is Hibernate checks the L1 cache first, and then if it is found, then it returns from cache, that is no SQL. Okay, and if not found, then it will run SQL to store results in L1, and then it will return. Okay, so here the L1 cache is destroyed when the session closes. Opening a new session starts with an empty cache, so this is why L2 exists. Got it? So here you see that when you call session.find, then Hibernate checks L1 cache. If it is found, then it will return from cache. Then there is no SQL query executed. Okay. If not found, then it will run SQL and store in L1. Then SQL query will be executed and the result is cached. Okay, so here you can see this is example, that is recipe R1 is equal to session.find. Here we are giving the class L1L. Okay, so what will happen, this here SQL will fire. Okay, so here SQL fires result stored in L1. L1 is nothing but our first level cache, right? And recipe R2. Okay, another one. Here is equal to session.find class L1. Okay, sorry, 1L. So here what will happen here now? There will be no SQL. Why? Because the result is taken from the L1. Okay, and then here we have another R3, that is recipe session.find. Again here our class. Okay, so here also no SQL. Why? Because the result is taken from the L1. Okay, and then when you print the statement, that is R1 is equal to R2, then here it will give us true because it is same object, right? And then session closes. After that, what will happen? L1 cache gets destroyed. Okay. So next, coming to second level cache query lookup. So here what will happens in second level cache, first it will check for the L1 cache, and then it will check for the L2 cache, and then it will hit the database. So here what happens in L1 cache, here it will check for the L1 cache for the current session, and then here it will check the L2 cache which is shared across all sessions, and then it will hit the database to query the database and store the result in L2 and L1. Okay, so now coming to cache concurrency strategies. Okay, so here we have read only, non-strict read write and transactional. Okay, so when to use this read only? When data never changes after insert. Okay, its performance is best. Whereas coming to this non-strict read write, here when to use when data changes occasionally. So slight tail risk. Okay, so this is good considering the performance. Okay, and then coming to here read write, this is used when data changes. Okay, strict consistency is needed here. So the performance is moderate. So here this transactional can be used to have full JTA transaction support. Okay, and the performance is most overhead. So here, for example, considering our example, right? In our example, we have category. So which is rarely renamed, right? You will not rename this category very frequently, right? So that's why we can keep this as read only. Okay, and we have recipe, right? So in recipe we can have any number of recipes, so that means you can update it, right? So here we use read write. Okay, so now coming to, we have a golden rule for what to cache. Okay, so here the golden rule is that when to cache, when reference data. Okay, when you want to reference a data that rarely changes. So for example, I said you categories, right? And when you want to read the data far more than to write. Okay, and also when data is identical for all the users. Okay, so now let's see in our example. Okay, so here in the session, what we are doing is we are adding caching to our recipe application and prove it works. Okay, that is by watching the SQL output and reading cache statistics. So by the end of this video, you will see the L1 cache silently save queries within the same session. And also you will see the L2 cache serve data across different sessions with zero SQL. And also here we are going to see Hibernate statistics, and you will know which entities to cache and why. Okay. So in this session, what I am doing is I am updating my pom.xml file, okay, where I will be adding this cache dependencies, and also I will be going to update this configuration file, okay, where I will be enabling this L2 cache and statistics. And also I will be updating this recipe file, that is recipe.java file, okay. So here I'm going to add some annotation, and then I'm going to update this category.java file as well, okay. And then this hibernate util.java file will be unchanged, and in main.java file I will be replacing it with our 6 caching demos, okay. So first coming to our pom.xml file, okay. So here I have updated this one, so here you can see this one. I have added this dependency, okay, hibernate j cache, and one more thing here, this one, cache. Okay, these two things I have added. So here the actual cache implementation stores data in memory. Okay, so cache is the most popular J cache compatible cache for Java. Okay, and then coming to our this configuration file. Okay, so here I have updated it with, so here you can see I have added this one property name, this one second level cache, okay, and this one region dot factory underscore class, this one, and this one use underscore query underscore cache, okay. And then here this one statistics, this four things, okay. These four properties I have added in our Hibernate configuration file, okay. So here we are enabling second level cache, okay. Without this, Hibernate never uses L2 cache even if at the rate cache is present, okay. And also here we are using this cache region factory, okay, that is which tells Hibernate to use Jcache, so which cache implements it, okay. And also here we are enabling query cache, which is optional, okay. So here it allows JPQL query results to be cached too, not only just entities, okay. So I have already demonstrated this in our session 5, okay. So here in this session, what I'm doing is I'm enabling the statistics also. So it will let us call session factory dot get statistics methods. Okay, so that you can see how this cache hits and misses. Okay, so here you can turn off in production. Okay, as statistics add a small overhead. Okay, and then coming to our this main.java file. Okay, so here you see that this one. So here we have all these demos, okay, all these methods. So before this, coming to our this recipe.java file, okay, so here you can see that here I have updated it with @cache, and also I have here imported the statement, okay. So here you can see @cache usage is equal to cache concurrency strategy dot read write. I have already explained you about the strategies, right? So here we are using this read write, okay. And then this is the rest of the things are same here, okay. So here this by using this @cache, okay, what happens here is this will mark that entity is for L2 caching, okay. And here I'm using this read write. Why? Because for the safety purpose, okay, to safeguard the data that can be updated, okay. And here Hibernate handles cache invalidation when records change. Got it? So here also you can see that I have annotated this category class with @cache, and also I have here imported the statements, okay, this one cache, okay. So here you see that @cache usage is equal to cache concurrency strategy dot read only. So here you see that here I have used read only, Okay, so here what happens by providing this read only is it will give the best performance. Okay, so here Hibernate never invalidates this cache. So use this read only for data you never update after saving. Okay, so here why we have different strategies. Why? Because for example category, right? So it uses read only. Okay, so here categories are created once and rarely renamed, right? That's the reason. And for example, here we have recipe, which uses read write. Okay, so here what happens is recipes can be updated, right? For example, your cook time, description, etc. Got it? And rest of the things are same. Okay. So now coming to this main.java file. So here is our main class. So here this is same. Okay, so here what I have done is I have changed the seed data is here we have, right? So here this is our new methods. Okay, so here you can see that in seed data this is our private static void seed data method. Okay, so here we have this session, okay, and transaction. So here we have categories, that is main course, breakfast, snacks. Okay, and in each main course we have added recipes, and for the breakfast also we did same, and for the snacks also, and then we have persisted, right? And then we have committed. Okay, all these things are same. Okay, so only thing is here we will be getting the statistics here. Okay, so coming to our first demo. Okay, so here it is, this one, private static void demo 1, L1 cache same session. So here we have a demo for the L1 cache. Okay, so here we will have 3 finds and 1 SQL. So for that first we are opening this session. So here we are this one having this recipe r1 is equals to session.find. We are having here recipe.class here. Okay, and here palak paneer id. So here what will happen is SQL will fire and result will be stored in L1. That is nothing but our first level cache. Okay, and then you will get the name of the recipe, that is get name here, right? And then again what we are doing, again we are here using the session.find for recipe r2 is equals to session.find. Okay, and here also we are giving same thing. Okay, so now here what will happen, here you will get the result from the L1. So here you will not have SQL here. Okay, and then for the 3 find 3 again we are finding. Okay, for the same ID, right? So here also no SQL above this line, as we will get from the L1 cache. Okay, so result we will get from the L1 cache. Okay, so here you can see this is find 1, this is find 2, and this is find 3, and then we are closing the session. Okay, and then here we are comparing, we are, that is r1 double equal to r2. Okay, so here what will happen, it will give same Java object from L1. Okay, and here we are comparing r1 with r3. Here also it will give same Java object from L1. Okay, so here we have total SQL find only one. Okay, that is first find method. So here L1 cache saved 2 database round trips automatically. Got it? Next, coming to here, L1 cache cleared on close method. So here what we are doing is we are clearing the cache on session close. So here what will happen is L1 cache is cleared on session close. Okay, that means here 2 sessions means that is 2 separate L1. Right, this is within the same session, right? So here we will see different sessions. Okay, so that means two sessions means 2 separate L1 caches. Okay, so for that we are having this session A. Okay, so here we are opening this session. Okay, and then here we have recipe from A, that is equal to session A find. We are finding, okay, in session A. Same thing. Recipe.class paneer, palak paneer ID. Okay, and then we are getting the result, that is dot get name method. We are calling it, and then we are closing this session. Okay, after closing it, this session will get destroyed. Okay, and then again we are opening the another session, that is session B. Now again what we are doing, we are same thing, we are finding the same recipe dot, we are giving that is recipe dot class, and we are finding this palak paneer id. Okay, here. So here what we are doing is we have recipe from B. Okay, so from different session we are finding again same thing. Okay, and then we are closing this session. So what will happen now? We have to look for it. So here what you will get the result. Okay. So here what happens is when you compare this both, that is from A session and from B session, here this will be false. Okay, why? Because this is two different objects. Why? Because this is within two different sessions. Okay, that's why this will give us false. Okay. So here what happened is SQL fired twice, that is with one within this session and one within this session. Okay. So once per session. Here L1 cache does not survive session close. Got it? And then coming to demo 3, that is here L2 cache session B needs no SQL. Okay, so here what will happen is here we are using this session factory. Okay, and then here we are calling this get statistics method. Okay, and then we are clearing the statistics. Okay, so here you see that we have session A. So first it will load. It will goes to the database and stores the result in L2. Okay, for that what we are doing, first we need to open this session, that is here session A. Here we have recipe R1. So session A dot find. So same thing here. So here what will happen? This is here SQL will fire. Okay. So you will get the name, and then we are closing this session. And then here we are printing the statistics for the session A. Okay. And then here we have session B. We are opening another session for session B. So here we have recipe R2 is equals to session B dot find, same thing. So here what will happen is here there will be no SQL. Okay. Why? Because here in session B L1 is empty. Okay, but L2 has it. So if no SQL appears below, L2 cache worked. Okay. And then here session B is closed. And then we are checking the statistics for the session B here. Okay. And then here coming to our demo 4, that is L2 cache invalidation on update. Okay. So here we are using this session factory. Here same we are calling this get statistics, and then we are clearing. Okay. So here first we will open this session. Okay. Step 1. What we will do, we will load into L2 cache. So for that recipe R is equal to session1.find. Same thing. We are finding same thing. Okay, and here we will be getting the name of the recipe and cook time in minutes, and then we are closing this session. And next what we are doing, we are opening again session for the step 2, that is to verify if it is cached. That is here we are not expecting any SQL. Okay, so here you see recipe cached is equal to session2.find, same thing. Okay, so now here you will get the name from this cache.get name, and then we are closing this session. And then comes step 3, that is here we are updating cook time. So here Hibernate invalidates L2 entry. Why? Because here so for that what we are doing, we are opening another session, that is session 3. We are beginning the transaction, and here we are updating the recipe, that is session3.find. Okay, here recipe.class palak paneer id. So here int old time, this one, to update get cook time in minutes. So here we are updating the time. Okay, to update dot set cook time in minutes. So we are updating 30 it to 35 minutes, and then we are committing, and then we are closing. And then coming to our step 4, that is load after update. So here SQL fires cache was cleared. So what will happen? We are opening the session. Okay, and here recipe fresh is equal to session4.find recipe.class. This one same thing, palak paneer id here. Okay, so here we will be getting the updated one, that is get name and cook time in minutes. Okay, and then here we are closing this session, and then coming to our step 5, here we are loading again. That means what will happen, back in L2 cache, here there will be no SQL. Okay, for that we are opening another session, that is session 5. So here recipe from cache is equal to session5.find this one. So here you will be getting the result from the L2 cache, that is get time, get name and get cook time in minutes. Okay, and then we are closing this session. Okay, and then this is our demo for the cache statistics across all recipes. So for that, here we are using session factory, that is, and we are calling this get statistics method. Okay, so here we are counting this recipe. So int recipe count is equal to all recipe IDs dot size. We are calling this method. Okay, and then here we are printing this statement, that is session A loading all with the recipe counts, so that all go to the database first time. Okay, and then we will see the recipe count. Okay, for the SQL queries. So here you see that we are opening the session again, that is session A. Here we are looping one by one all the recipe IDs. Okay, so here you see the session A dot find recipe dot class comma ID, and then we are closing this session A. Okay, and then here the statements will get executed. And then this is our session B. Okay, loading same recipe count here. So if L2 works, no SQL should appear below. So here for that we are opening this session B, looping one by one all the recipe IDs. Okay, and then we are closing this session. So here you see same thing, we are calculating the statistics for L2 hits. So we will get the number of recipes served from L2. So here we should not have any SQL. Okay. And then here you will be getting the hits and misses. And then here we are checking for the conditions. Okay. And then this is our last demo, that is for the golden rule. So here, so what to cache versus what to not cache. So for that, here what we are doing is we are opening this session, and then this is the session 1 to load. Okay, first we are loading, that is category. Cat is equal to s1.find. Here you see category.class. So here we are giving main course ID, and then here you will get the category name, and we are closing this S1 session, and then we are opening again S2 session. Okay, so here you will be seeing the second load with no SQL expected. So here you are giving the category again and you are finding it for the same thing. Okay, and then this is the statistics. Okay, this is the print stats method, okay, which we used. This is our seed data method. Okay, so now what we will do, we will run this. So here you can see that here it's seeded 3 categories and 9 Indian veg recipes. Okay, so here Palak Paneer ID is 1 and main course ID is 1. Statistics cleared, ready for demos. Okay, so here we will be seeing our first demo, that is we are finding 3 times, right? So what will happen? So here you see that this is L1 cache, 3 finds, 1 SQL. So here you see SQL will file and result stored in L1. So here you see this Hibernate generated this select statement, okay, from the recipe table. Okay, so here you got Palak Paneer. And then when you're finding it second time, so here you see same ID, same session. So you got Palak Paneer, no SQL above this line from, you got this from L1 cache, and again same thing happened. When you find again third time, then you will get the same ID. And here you got same Palak Paneer, no SQL above this line from L1 cache. Okay. And then here we are comparing, right? This one, these things. So here R1 is equal to R2. Yes, this both are true. Why? Because they are same Java object from the L1. Okay, because we are using same session, right? This is within same session. That's why. So R1 is equal to R2, true, because same Java object from L1. Okay. And total SQL file here you can see only one, right? And here L1 cached is saved. L1 cache shift to database round trips automatically. Okay, and then coming to our demo 2 here. Here we are using two separate sessions, that is session A and session B, right? So here you see. So when you call, here it loaded this palak paneer, okay? So here you see this one. It calculated the metrics also here. So here you see, after that what happened? Session A closed, L1 cache destroyed. Here you see, it loaded this palak paneer, right? And then after closing, L1 cache destroyed. And then this is our session B. So here it loaded the same palak paneer. Here you see, it loaded palak paneer. Then it calculated this metrics. Okay, and then session B closed. Okay, so here we are comparing, right? So here you see this one. So what will happen? This will return us false. Why? Because we are having two different sessions, right? So here you see from A is equal to from B, this one. See here, false, right? Because it is two different objects. And why? Because we are having two different sessions. So here SQL fired twice, once per session. So L1 cache does not survive session close. Okay. So that's why here you see for the session 1, session A, L1 cache destroyed. Okay. And then coming to this one, demo 3. Okay. So here you see, here we are having session A, which will first load. Okay. So here you see L2, session B needs no SQL. So session A first load. This will first go to database, then store in L2. So here it loaded this palak paneer. Okay. Get name loaded. Okay. So here it calculated the metrics, and after that it gave us all the count. Okay, and this one, here, this. Okay. So here you see that L2 puts 0, L2 hits 1, L2 misses 0. Okay, next coming to the session B. Okay, here it loaded. Here you see this one. What happened here? L1 is empty, but L2 has it. So here if no SQL appears below, then L2 cache worked. Okay, this is the one which we have given, right? So here you see this one. It loaded this palak paneer, okay? And then it calculated the metrics, okay? And then here you see after session B, stats, here you got. L2 puts 0, L2 hits 2, L2 misses 0, okay? And then here you see this got executed. That is L2 cache eliminated one entire database round trip in an app with 1000 users loading the same recipe. That is 999 queries saved. Okay, and then coming to our demo 4 here. Okay, so here you see that this is for L2 cache invalidation on upload. So it loaded into L2 cache. Okay, so here you see this one. You got the name and cook time in minutes. This one, that is palak paneer. Cook time is 25 minutes. And then here the step 2, this one for the verification. So it verified that it is cached, no SQL is expected, and it is served from palak, that is cache, that is from palak. So here it served from cache, that is palak paneer, and then it calculated the metrics, and then here you see that it provided us that L2 hits so far 2. Okay, here. And then coming to our step 3, update cook time. We are updating cook time. So here see that Hibernate generated this update statement. Okay. So here you got the session metrics. So here we are updating, right, with 35 minutes. So here you see updated cook time is 35 minutes. Before it was 25 minutes. So here L2 cache entry invalidated automatically. Okay, this got executed. Next, coming to step 4. Here, see that load after update. Here SQL files cache was cleared. So here fresh from database, this one. You will get the name and cook time in minutes. This one, updated one. Here you see this one. You got it right. And then our step 5, load again, this one. So here you see it loaded again, that is back in L2, no SQL. So from L2 cache, palak paneer cook time is here you see 35 minutes. It loaded from the L2 here. Okay, and here this is the session metrics. Okay, so here you got final statistics for the demo 4. Here this one L2 puts 1, L2 hits 5, L2 misses 0. Okay, and then this statement got executed, that is redirect strategy kept cache consistent throughout, stale data was never served, always accurate. Okay, and then coming to our demo 5, this one, here you see that Hibernate generated the select statement. Okay, so that is from recipe table, and also here you have another select statement from recipe table, that is 2, then this is 3. Okay, and then this is 4, and then this is 5, and then this is 6, and then this is 7, this is 8. Okay, so here you see total 8 select statement got generated here, right? So here you have the session metrics. Okay, and then here after session A, here you see this one got executed. Okay, all these things. So here you got L2 puts 8, that is 9 recipes stored in L2. Okay, and L2 misses 8, that is all went to database, that is first time, and L2 hits 1. Okay, and then for this session B, you see here it loaded the same 9 recipes. So here you see there is no select statements, right? Here there is no SQL. Okay, for this session B. For session A we had, right? So here you see we have the session metrics. After session B, here we got this one. Okay, that is L2 hits 10, that is 9 recipes served from L2, that is there is no SQL. Okay, 0 SQL, and here database query saved 9, cache hit rate is 56%. Okay, and then coming to our demo 6, this one. Okay, so here you see what to cache and what not to cache. So this is our session 1. First it loaded, we got here select statement which Hibernate generated it from our category table. Okay, then it loaded the main course. Okay, here, and then this is our session metrics. So here you see session 2, this one. Second load, here no SQL is expected. So here you didn't got any SQL, right? For the session 1 you got, but here we are not expecting any SQL, and here we don't have any SQL, right? So here it loaded main course, that is from L2. So here you don't have any SQL, right? And then here we have the session metrics, and then the overall session statistics here we got is all these things. Okay, so here entity loads is 9, L2 puts 9, L2 hits 11, L2 misses 9, database queries run 0. After that, Hibernate drop the table if exists category cascade. Okay, so here you see session factory closed cleanly, all 6 caching demos complete. Okay. So why this caching matters Spring Boot developers? Why? Because in Spring Boot, cacheable is the higher level abstraction. Okay, so understanding Hibernate L1 and L2 cache explains why cacheable works, and it helps you make better decisions about what to cache and how. Got it? So this is for today's session. If you liked my teaching, then let me know through comment and hit the like button and share it with your circle so that it will be helpful to them. And do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you will not miss any of my videos. Till then, keep learning, keep growing. This is Poonam Agrawal from CodeCraft with Poonam signing off.